Namaste dear friends, and I hope all of you are doing fine. I'm going to talk about the Marana Karaka Sthana. I always talk about this to my clients, and I keep telling them in my consultation. I do a lot of teaching as well. Try to make my clients understand what exactly is going on. So one of the most common thing that I see is Marana Karaka Sthana. Okay, well, let's dissect the phrase with Marana Karaka Sthana. What is that all about? Marana means death. Karaka is like, the one which is responsible, right? Or significator. Sthana means like a place, like a location, a state, right? So Marana Karaka Sthana means it's a location or a state that doesn't yield anything, it doesn't provide anything, all right? It's sort of dead, okay? Now, the grahas, as you know by now, but if you don't know, then the grahas are the one which is responsible to convey the energies of God, to convey the powers to the individual houses, right? Individual houses. That is the function of the graha, to transmit the energy to the houses. Now, when a graha falls under the scheme of Marana Karaka Sthana, that graha would be dysfunctional. It would not work. Okay, there are certain grahas. There are certain houses where some of the grahas would not feel comfortable. Okay, naturally, they have their own tattvas. Right now, we call it Naisargik tattva. Naisargik means natural. It has like its own personality, right? And it feels very uncomfortable if it falls under these certain houses, if it resides in certain houses. Now that is what it means by Marana Karaka Sthana. So again, in summary, certain grahas would feel uncomfortable and eventually would not produce any effect or would not help in any way if it falls into that house. So I'm going to talk about all that grahas and whichever house that it will sit, and thus creating this concept called the Marana Karaka Sthana. Okay, so let me think. Let's try Saturn first. Okay, now Saturn falls in the scheme of Marana Karaka Sthana, or Saturn would not yield anything, or would not produce, or would produce adverse effects if it's in the first house. All right, the first house, as you know, is the that is the inlet, right? That is the entry point from the soul, from the previous birth to this birth, right? So that entry point is always about that physical creation process itself, all right? It's always creation, it's personality within. It is the beginning. Now, Shani Bhagwan or Saturn, its natural significance or its Naisargik tattva is that it's all about karmas. How can I say? It's all about karma cleanup, right? Whatever that we've done, it sort of gives us towards whatever we have done in the previous birth. It takes it and it gives us in this birth, right? So that karma cleanup is certainly not the right place to be, the first house, right? It is all about sin, it's all about penury, it's all about suffering, it's all about true discipline, it's all about truth, okay? So as you can see, the first house is all about creation. Shani Bhagwan is all about, it's all about understanding the truth. Both of these, the first house and the Shani, they don't get along each other. So if you have Shani in the first house, based on dasa analysis or one particular time in your life, you'll notice that you go into many troubles because Shani would not feel comfortable, especially if you're going through the Shani Mahadasa or any form of within the sub-dasas, Pratyantar or Antardasa. Also you can feel the anguish that Shani is feeling. Shani is feeling totally he's totally feeling uncomfortable here, and it certainly would produce ill effects. Okay, so that's the first one, Shani Bhagwan. The second, let's take Mars. Okay, Mars gets Marana Karaka Sthana in the 7th house. Now, the 7th is all about Kalatra. It's all about communion with the other soul. It's all about intimacy, right? Now, Mars is a very, it's a graha which is very audacious, very loud. It's all about war, okay? Which is why Mars is associated with the god of war, which is Skanda, right? Now, this very military-like graha will certainly feel uncomfortable when it goes to the house of intimacy, isn't it? So that's why it falls under the Marana Karaka Sthana scheme. Now, that will also have the same implications, that if you are going through certain dasas of where Mars is the lordship of that dasa, then you are bound to have problems, especially back home with your wife or your husband, or intimacy, your partners, and your business, trading business, and all that will be affected. Okay, so we have done 2 grahas. Now the next will be Rahu. Now Rahu, Marana Karaka Sthana is the 9th house. It's quite easy to understand. The 9th is the house of Bhagya, the house of God, right? The house of graces. Rahu is all about greed, right? It's all about greed, a lot about trying to dwell into the materialistic world, the last thing in Rahu's mind is worship, right? Rahu is really not interested. Rahu is all about it's all about a fast life, fast materialistic life. So that seems very obvious that Rahu will fall under the Marana Karaka Sthana if it's in the 9th house, and thus the implications are problems during that particular dasas, or that house itself, the 9th house itself, right, would have problems. Okay, what we have done: Saturn, Mars, and Rahu. Now let's talk about Venus. Okay. Now, Venus or Shukra Bhagavan is all about aesthetics, sensuality, bed pleasures, love, romance, and all that. Its natural personality is to connect with the materialistic life. It is also called the teacher of the demons, for the fact that it teaches us to live in the materialistic world, to live with that. The aesthetics of the materialistic world, which is why it's called the teacher of the demons. What happens is, if Venus goes to the 6th house, it will fall under the Marana Karaka Sthana scheme. The 6th is the house of service, the house of charity, right? The house of disease. It's got nothing to do with whatever the karakas that Venus, as I just mentioned. So Venus becomes totally agitated and restless when it goes to the 6th house, and thus the 6th house will have, or the person who's having this in their chart will have a lot of problems in relation with the 6th house or in the dasas of Venus. All right. Now the next would be Mercury. Have I said Mercury? No, yeah, Mercury. Now Mercury affects 2 houses. Okay, the 4th and also the 7th. Now the 4th is a house of comforts, the house of happiness. Of course, it's a sukha bhava, right? Sukha literally means happiness, but it's more towards in self-indulgence, enjoying yourself, okay, and all that. It's a house of comforts. Mercury is a graha where it's interested in constant learning, logical experiences, getting that facts in life, trying to make things, trying to organize things and all that. So it's the last thing it wants to be in a house where it's laid back and relaxing. It really makes him very uncomfortable, very agitated. So as you can see, Mercury in the 4th will have problems. And also on the 7th is house of intimacy, of kalatra, of communion between 2 souls, right? Now, if you have read about the graha, their personalities and all that, I would recommend a book by Ernst William. Now, he has written a book called the Graha Sutras. It's a very interesting book. It has a lot of esoterical knowledge, And also Bipin Bihari's book as well, he also talks about a lot of the true essence of grahas. So if you read that, you understand that Mercury has a story and all that, which I'm not going to talk about right now. But Mercury is basically a eunuch. It's neither a male nor female. It's a neutral. And this seventh is all about intimacy. So, it doesn't have its part, or it doesn't have its play on the seventh as well. So remember, the fourth and the seventh are Marana Karaka Sthanas for Mercury. Now I've done Mars, Saturn, Mercury, Rahu. Let me talk about Moon. Okay, Moon goes into Marana Karaka Sthana in the 8th house. Now, if you have learned Muhurta, one of the early topics of Muhurta, you'll come to understand that if Moon is in the 8th, it's called Chandrashtama. That is totally inauspicious, and a lot of it's totally inauspicious. We should never comment anything when it comes to electional astrology or Muhurta. The Moon in the 8th is bad. That's one reason why. That's one of the many reasons why Moon in the 8th is Marana Karaka Sthana. But on a very deep level, the Moon is the mind, the manas, right? They call it the manas, the mind. It's all about understanding how the world works, the mechanics of the world, what sort of feelings and emotions can it gather on a daily basis. It's always seeking experience in relation to learning, knowledge and also emotions, right? That's how it will grow. Now the 8th house is the house of death. It's a house of ending, right? So as you can see, it really feels uncomfortable because its need is to gain more emotional understanding, intellectual understanding, psychological understanding. But it's in the house of death, so that will certainly make the Moon very uncomfortable. And also, again, as I mentioned, Chandrashtama, or the Moon, the 8th, is a bad thing in the Muhurta or electional astrology. Now let's talk about, I've done Venus, I've done Mercury, Mars, Moon, Sun. Okay, now the Sun in the 12th is Marana Karaka Sthana. This can be easily understood because the 12th is the house of renunciation or letting go, becoming a monk or going into spirituality, releasing oneself from the torments of the materialistic world is the 12th house. The Sun is the king of the grahas. It's all about brilliance. It's all about shining forth. The last thing it wants to be is in a house of renunciation, right? So that's another, the Sun is also known for opulence, right? For richness. It's sitting on a throne. It doesn't want to be in a house of renunciation. So that can cause many problems in the charts as well, because it doesn't help, it doesn't yield anything. When the particular dasa starts to kick in, then one has to go through many problems in life. With the karakas, or with the attributes of the Sun. So the Sun is done, Mars, Mercury. Now Jupiter, right? Jupiter, Brihaspati, when it goes to the 3rd house, it loses its potency. Okay, it sort of dies off. Again, the Marana Karaka Sthana scheme. Jupiter is the graha of dharma. Dharma is like virtue, righteousness, good conduct, and all that good things. The 3rd is all about aggression, moving forward, facing the world without fear, those sort of things, right? It's two different polarities, opposite polarities, and thus Jupiter would not be helping this. In fact, it will be in a constant agitation, right? There is another topic, but before that, let me just complete it. Of course, Ketu is not in any of these Marana Karaka Sthana, because Ketu itself is it's a very karmic graha. It's a very mysterious graha. Right? It connects back to our past life. It has certain important, I would say, part or play in the actual chart itself. So many things will not be attributed to Ketu, especially when it comes to associations with the Marana Karaka Sthana and all that, right? So let me just try to recall. I've done all. I've done the Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, and Rahu. Yeah, okay, I've done all of it. So yeah, this is what Marana Karaka Sthana. In summary, the grahas will feel very uncomfortable because of its Naisargik Karaka Tattva, which means it is its natural significance, its natural temperament is against that house. Okay. Yeah, of course we can also talk in length about the avastas. The avastas are also different types of problems or the state or the conditions of a graha, right? There's so many types that we can talk about, different types of avastas and so on. But anyway, that's for another video to talk. I hope you have gained some knowledge in this Marana Karaka Sthana. If you have not, so do leave your comments in the description, in the comment section below. And if you're new to my channel, do stay tuned. I'll be covering more of this Vedic astrological insights, and I hope to do more videos in a more frequent basis. So thank you, friends. Do subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.